Hello and thanks for joining us on the Thursday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun, your regular host. Today on the program, Hope Uzodinma sworn in as Imo State Governor, orders probe of government account from 2010. Bandits attack convoy of Emir of Potiskum, kill 6 and abduct others. And later on the program, federal government begins implementation of finance bill 7.5 value-added tax. I'll be hanging out with Martins, Oloja, and Tony Nwajei. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for joining us. Now, it's a new lease of life in Imo State. A new governor has been sworn in. Senator Hope Uzodinma of the All Progressive Congress, APC, has taken over the reins of power as the 7th governor of the Southeast states. His ascension to power is coming after the Supreme Court voided the election of Emeka Ihedioha of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, on Tuesday. After his swearing in Owerri, the state capital, Governor Uzodinma began his reign on a combative note when he ordered probe of the government's accounts from 2010. By implication, the administration of 3 of his predecessors, that is Ikedi Owakim, Rochas Okorocha, and Emeka Ihedioha, will come under scrutiny. Talking about cleaning the organs table in Imo State, let's hear from Governor Hope Uzodinma.
My government shall be a faithful covenant between the people and the government. I shall execute with utmost diligence and fidelity the 5 cardinal programs of my administration, anchored on the 3 R's. That is reconstruction, rehabilitation, and the recovery.
Reconstruction, rehabilitation, and recovery. Now, if this story is anything to go by, as in starting from Tony now, and when you look at Hope Uzodinma coming and is saying that, yes, I'm going to check the books, that maybe the state might have been, finances might not have money have not been prudently extended since 2010 to this time. Do you think it's a step in the right direction, despite the fact that Ikedi Owakim spent almost the first 3 months uprooting all the structures of Rochas Okorocha, going to Akachi, doing a lot of things just to undo what his predecessor has done. Yeah. So that is like the hallmark of any new administration we want to, So what do the advice to Hope was?
For me, it's putting the wrong foot forward. I believe by now he ought to take it, he ought to have learned a lesson from Emeka Ihedioha. When Ihedioha took over, he started dismantling, what Rochas did for 8 years, and he was still doing it till about 2 days ago when this thing happened. What I was expecting him to do is to call for reconciliation in that state. Yeah, a lot of things are happening right now, and even the mood in the state as we speak is not welcoming. So, but looking at this cardinal objective, rehabilitation, reconstruction, and recovery, I didn't hear reconciliation there, which means, and then the next thing is set into motion the probing of the past administrations. Because what I see here is going to lead to a huge distraction. Because what's going to happen here is that for the next 4 years, he's going to be distracted. There's going to be controversy. I don't see these people just keeping quiet and watching him do this. A lot of infighting within the political party, because of course we know Rochas was in APC before, and I saw a video yesterday where all of them were seated at I think Imo State Government House, and prior to the swearing in, I see crisis if it does not recant what the people want in Imo. God has done it for he's the governor. Governor, because I was swearing yesterday, I expect something different. When you take over from Emeka Ihedioha, don't follow the same pattern. It's not a power show. What the people want is something new.
Concentrate on governance.
How are you going to better the lives of Imolite? How are you going to make things different from where Emeka left it? This issue of a governor comes, I'm going to probe this. At the end of the day, you don't even hear all those things. The issue is this. I'm not saying you should not probe. You can call for the accounts of the, to check the books of the state.
Isn't that call coming
not
too early?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I say putting the wrong foot forward. It's a wrong move for me. You can do it quietly. That's when you take over the reign of government, then assume office. You don't need a media show of this. You don't need it.
Martins, do you agree with Hope Uzodinma's first statement tracing back to 2010?
I rather agree with my brother here about putting the wrong foot forward. First thing and first impression. And I think this reinforces argument in various quarters, and which we have also reinforced here, that most of these are people that come to government before planning. They don't plan, they don't have a blueprint. From what he read yesterday, for what is reconstruction, rehabilitation, recovery without reconciliation, and then we'll go to what everybody does all over the place for distraction. Probe. We want to probe. What do you want to probe? People already know all these things. I think Tony summarized it when he said, look, you don't need this. It's distraction. Imo State, always in the news. And you see what has happened politically in that place. It's totally divided. People saying, governor should have come from this place, governor should have come from this place. This new governor now has come from the same zone with this governor and all those things, all those distractions. But when you pass through the place, I was in Owerri late last year. I went from Owerri to Abia State for a wedding. And I saw some poor construction, even where you see big potholes around roundabouts. Even potholes around the road leading to the Federal University of Technology, even the Polytechnic, all those things like that. And I think, yes, they need reconstruction, they need this thing, but they should be focused. Quiet operation. If you want to probe, you could do what the new governor that everybody is talking about in Southwest, Seyi Makinde. Look, we suggested something to some governors here the other day that Kano State government has been doing some things that are controversial. Some of those things like that, it's very difficult to just get him, to pin him down, because he will go to the State Assembly to enact a law. Even this Hisba we're talking about, and even a local anti-corruption agency, you can say that, how do they use them? But start something. Start something, legalize something. You want to probe, you have not even got. He doesn't even have any member of
the State House of Assembly.
The State House of Assembly. He should be considering how to get over this, how to reconcile, how to say things that will
get them back,
that will reconcile the people.
He needs them.
We know the division.
We know the division. You see,
someone under Action Alliance.
Yes,
like 8 of them.
You have 27 members, and you don't even have one. So
not even one.
Not even one. And then he has won this election. Everybody is still talking about the election, the circumstances that led to his victory. He should consider some of those things that he will do that will make the people to be happy to say,
swing them to his side.
Don't make people to forget what has happened, because people are saying in town now. It means that, as we said here before, we analyze that votes of the people and people who count the vote may not matter anymore. It is judicial decision that brings about mandate. People are discussing this all over the place. In Imo State, you see people were crying yesterday. I say, So what he needs, I think we should not be afraid of repeating it, reconciliation. Reconciliation.
The people together,
he doesn't need to set up a commission or a committee, but his own attitude matters at this time. And what he says at any point in time matters. Probe 3-month government. When did even get there?
Even sat down.
He should map out his own strategy. He should tell the people what he intends to do
for them.
It's not about probe. It's not about fighting
I saw
people.
I saw a video after Emeka Ihedioha won that election. I saw Hope Uzodinma. I saw Senator Ararume. together. They were hugging and, and embracing. So I thought that they were going to work together. I never knew that Hope Uzodinma was cooking something in the courts. That shows you the complexity of politicians.
Yes.
And I saw a video of Rochas Okorocha, Uche Wosu, yesterday, and with the governor and the national chairman of APC. They were all smiling.
How do you, what do you think?
Smiling now and talking about probe. It's that
I'm telling you,
irony.
how do you place
I'm sure, because I saw that, I'm sure Chief Rochas Okorocha would have been in Owerri yesterday for the inauguration. I thought it was his show.
Yeah, the issue is that I recall during the election when the president went to Imo State, and the governor, the governor, was trying to make a speech, and Rochas did not allow him.
I remember.
Yeah, you remember?
Yeah.
And then I watched the video. That video you're talking about, I watched the video yesterday when he was shaking Rochas. The chairman of the APC was there, and NWC members, some senior high-ranking member of the party were all there, and Shomole held the two hands, trying to trying to reconcile the two, and they were laughing. It tells you, and then I heard the story of I'm going to probe, freezing the account of the state and all that, and I'm trying to situate the two. I don't know how it's going to happen, and I'm happy you brought that issue up. That's politicians for you. That is. But I think it was hasty with that announcement. And because it was hasty, I see nothing tangible coming out of it. I see, because a lot of people are already calling on him to take, to take it cool. That is not what the people of Imo State want at this point. This is 7 months after Ihedia took over. It's just like there's a standstill right now. A lot of things are going to stay.
Okay, that's the video.
Exactly. That's the video in question.
You see Senator Hope
Uzodinma, the new governor.
You see Larry Isa Onilu and Adams Oshomole, all smiling.
This is the Imo State Government House yesterday. So I'm trying to juxtapose, how it's going to happen, how are you going to probe them. They all already. I'm seeing something happening. This video it tells a lot. Something will happen here. Because I see the chairman of the party coming in at this point. He's not been in not in good times with Rochas before now. Yeah. And you can see a lot of things. These are politicians. I don't want to get too serious with them. I don't want to get too serious
I've
with them.
seen Obaseki. I've seen him go to pay homage, Oshomole's place, and they were coming out, and they were all smiles and
then the next day again.
This is the same video. So we're not too sure
what will happen next.
This is a reflection of the true reconciliation on ground.
I have repeated this local proverb here. Where you see men, whether politicians or businessmen, or where they meet and they are smiling, it means that they have not told themselves the truth. But when you see, after meeting, you see some people hissing
and jumping out
of the meeting, and they say it means that they have told themselves the truth. I think what they need at this time is to tell themselves the truth, that look, let us bury some hatchet. Let's pay attention to what people pay attention to in the world now. The standard of education in the state. How many of their children are embracing certain things like that, like science subjects, mathematical subjects, and all those things.
For the benefit of our viewers, let's just allow people to enjoy the audio and the video of this particular clip.
We are the I don't catch you now. But I'm singing the song. We are the united. We are the society. As we come away, we put the past behind. Going back.
Excellent.
Tony Nwajei is saying this is not a good smile.
And just as Martin said, it's not a good smile.
Hope Uzodinma made a statement. I don't catch you now.
I don't catch you now. Telling Okorocha, yes, now. Yes,
Now
because
that's pregnant with meaning.
It's pregnant,
A
but
lot.
you don't mind them.
A lot.
You see, what people always say these days is like from Shakespeare that all those people you see there dry is bored. One mind in all these men, all bent against the people. So they should plan for the people. As I was saying, a critical thing. In most parts of the world now, developed world, even already developed world, people are conscious of what happens to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics subjects, because that's the language of development. So he should look at what happens to education there. Do they have good teachers? Do they pay teachers regularly? Do they pay them at all? Because that is what will determine the future of Imo State, within Nigeria. And I think critical infrastructure, everybody is talking about this now, inner city roads and all those things like that, that will help people, even in agriculture, in whatever we do. He should look at those things, not to be talking about probe. Whatever he has seen there, let him show some maturity. Let him have a large heart and face governance. You mentioned governance. After politics, after election, after swearing in, forget partisan politics and face governance issues. Because these are
That's what the people
these
want.
Are, that's
These
what
are
the
the
people
things we
want. And wherever you find somebody getting some applause now, like Makinde in Oyo, even Zulum in
Borno State.
people see it. You don't have to
see,
bribe
you don't need to-
journalists.
you don't
You
need
don't
to
have to
make-
bribe.
exactly.
You don't have to do public relations.
drama.
Once people see you, that's what I commented on Zulum twice, even last week. It's not, I am not from the party. I'm not from Borno State. I'm not from any
But
of the
it's a fact. It's a fact.
Southeast
It's a
states.
fact.
But
That's
the
the
passion.
mood.
Passion.
Yeah.
When people
Passion
see
is-
what you are
passion,
doing,
yeah.
you see
He
a
doesn't even
governor
dress like a
confronting-
governor.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
doesn't dress like a
He
governor.
doesn't
A governor
carry
confronting
himself.
soldiers and calling the major
Telling
general,
them the
where
truth.
are you? You know, telling them the truth. I said, look, the people, your own people are oppressing my people. Why should you subject people to this kind of thing? That is governance. That's the way I called it last
Not
week
some of them
in my
that-
column. So I think that they should they should borrow some leave from these people. I say, why? People are saying in December, Seyi Makinde in Oyo State paid the salary that they don't usually, before he came, that they were not paying. Before 20th. And he promised them 13th month, and he has been
And he
doing
met-
so.
yeah.
And
You
they
know,
paid,
these
they
are
paid the
things.
13th month.
Yes, and these are the things that,
that makes
should
you
inspire
unique here.
People is at the center of politics.
Governance.
Governance. And he should remember that one instead of all these plastic smiles and promise to
Politics.
probe and all those things like that.
Plastic.
Because at the end of the day, in the next 3 months, people will start
By now,
Asking questions.
asking questions.
Tony, I said by now it should have the profile of the debt of the state, the number of out-of-school children,
Yes.
the poverty rate, how to, governance.
That's what-
I don't.
that's-
Because if one of the bane of this administration, the administration of Muhammadu Buhari, when the first 4 years, I think first 3 years, the administration kept talking about Jonathan's government, Jonathan's
that's a
government.
distraction.
It was,
too.
yes,
Yeah,
it was a
exactly.
sing-song.
Now,
After some time,
Nobody's talking
you
about
can't give,
Jonathan
Nobody was buying it
no, you
again.
can't give the
Yeah.
excuse again. It's 5 years. It's almost
so
5
you
years down the
focus,
lane.
yes.
So you have to. The Uzodinma is swearing in was yesterday. So yesterday, the date of yesterday. So it's like a kind of 100 meters race.
yes.
So it's expected that the clock is ticking now.
Taken.
For his 4
Because
years.
he contested for that position in the last election, which means which presupposes that he ought to have had his blueprints. You know, he can't just run for an office without preparing. So I expect this is an opportunity for him now to bring out what he plans. He's been expecting to be governor. For him to contest, he ought to have
For him to
had,
get to
this is what I want to
Supreme
do
Court
for my
level.
state. So even if the Supreme Court 2 days ago said, okay, you're the governor, it does not mean you shouldn't be in confused state. Just go to where you kept it, bring it out, okay, and dust it and say, now I'm back. That's what people expect him to do. In terms of housing, healthcare, education, road infrastructures in the state.
Yes.
Where do I need to take these people? This is where this guy left it. And look at the books.
I'm forming your
This,
team.
yeah, this hasty pronouncement
time.
is what kills this country. You took over and then you quickly draft a speech. Let me make a media show of this.
But
For me, that is, I don't see governance here. You sit down and drop, it's an indigenous of the state, so he knows the problem. He knows what the people want. Just like Martin said, Zulum in Borno State, Seyi Makinde, they're not using the press. The people are seeing, that's a
Yes.
perception. When you walk, people will see you. when you work, you can't cheat. And with the social media these days, a lot of information just like that, it drops in seconds. So you cannot manipulate it, no matter how you try. Work and the people will see it. Not all this state pronouncement. It won't take you anywhere.
Martins, now, how will Uzodinma get the cooperation of the State House of Assembly? It's a big deal now.
It's a big deal, but that's my brother is academic. In the next few weeks, he will have more members of APC in the Assembly. That is the way we are. So we are Nigerians. This is Nigeria. We know what will happen.
What will happen? Please tell us.
What will happen is that most of those PDP members will move to APC. I have to be a prophet at this time. And I don't fact. I can prophesy this as an oracle. That in the next few weeks,
2 days from now,
you will see
even the deputy speaker,
most of them will be APC, and it fits the bill because APC is the ruling party in Nigeria. So if they defect, they will gain more. They think, so what would they gain by sitting down and see PDP? They can't impeach him. They don't have the power. They cannot do that.
Can't do that
at this time.
They can.
So at this time, I can be an oracle to tell you that in the next few hours you will start hearing
shifting to other parties.
the
movement, realignment.
So the issue of hostility towards the new governor might not be there.
No,
he's a politician, so he knows what to do. As we're talking, speaking here, I'm sure a lot of politicking is going on. And you are just plotting how to get the deputy speaker. I can assure you that somebody from APC is defecting to PDP to be deputy, and I'm sure a lot of them are doing it.
And don't forget that Uche Nwosu that left APC to go and contest under Action Alliance, they have like 8 lawmakers, I think,
in the state.
So automatically those ones will come back.
Already.
I have one friend there, Honorable Edwin was, he had to go and contest from AA, and they still won his constituency.
Yes.
So right now, as APC member, we have to come back and so that they can add to the crowd. One other turning issue here is that I think they're not good. The election of Anambra State, Imo State now is going to be staggered.
Yeah, definitely.
Of course.
From yesterday.
It's taking his oath of office.
Yes.
That thing is from the day he took his oath of office.
Elections from yesterday.
Okay, so it's going to be close to the after 2023 election.
Yes,
that's when we're going to have an election.
2023 election in Imo State.
Imo State. Yeah. Okay, we wish Senator Hope Uzodinma the best of luck. Now, still to come, bandits attack convoy of Emir of Potiskum along Kaduna Zaria Road, kill 6 and abduct others. Stay with us. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this time out. Welcome back. It's Journalist Hangout. We're reaching you live from Television Continental. Another prominent traditional ruler from Nigeria's northeast, precisely the Emir of Potiskum, Yobe State, has been attacked. This time, it was not at his domain, nor by the dreaded Boko Haram fighters. Bandits opened fire on the convoy of the Emir, Umar Babaram, along Kaduna Zaria Road, killing 4 of his aides, 2 other passengers, and injuring many others. The Emir escaped, but not after sustaining injuries himself. Are the Kaduna bandits back? Last weekend, I did Abuja to Jos, so we're able to avoid the Kaduna. Yes, avoid it. But I had some people that mistakenly they went past that road. They said the road was so lonely and deserted that they had just had 3 vehicles along that road. Now we don't have. We've seen the IRT. They've been on this road, and we know that there's a special interest on this road, and so why do we still have that kind of level of carnage there?
We continue to have this until we get serious. I've said it in other forums that this issue of Amotekun that came up recently came as a matter of national emergency. It's becoming something that is an urgent step that must be taken. We've done this thing many times. Now we're talking about Emir of Potiskum by men dressed in military uniform. So, and most of the time you travel across the country, you see policemen and you stop for them. Because you have hope when you see these people on the road and you stop for checks and all that. And then you're talking about men dressed in military uniform. Which means this is what we now see on Nigerian roads. I don't want to say it's not a failure of government per se. But what I want to say here is that government needs to brace up. It has gotten to that level when things has to change. We cannot be using the same operational manual to run our security network over the years and expect something different. We've been doing that over and over again. This is the same country where we have service chiefs for how many years? Yes, I think it's time for, I don't know. I've said it, I don't know how to say it again. I think it's high time for these people to go. They've done their best. They've done excellently well. No issues about that. Well, can you bring new people on board? People with fresh ideas. You can't be using the same idea all the time. Taking soldiers to and all that, and then bring the same thing, the same pattern. And they meet with the president like every fortnight. And I'm wondering what they discuss in such meeting. There's an emergency right now. People are beginning to form their own security. It can work. And then when they do that, government says, no, you can't do. I mean, you are not protecting me. I should protect myself at this point. That is what it means. Yesterday, it's just a pointer to the issues we're talking about in Nigeria today. Life is no longer safe. This Christmas alone, people travel with policemen. No. People pay police. Yes. And I mean, you drive Hilux. I know a guy who paid 8 policemen. He came from the United States. I'm telling you, and he traveled to the east. It's Hilux, 2 Hilux van. I know how much it cost him. You can imagine that. Mm-hmm. So if you can protect me, and then this particular region of the country saying, no, we can't continue like this. This should bother the federal government that something is wrong somewhere. That is what they should be talking about, not what Malami is saying. How do we get this thing sorted out? There's a national emergency somewhere. Things must be done correctly. Otherwise, this is just the beginning. They can't stop this movement. Things have to change. Life is no longer safe in Nigeria.
There's something peculiar about Kaduna State. The insecurity within and outside Kaduna State is baffling. When we are recording peace in Zamfara, peace in Katsina, relative peace and calm in every other neighboring state. But when it comes to Kaduna, if it's not southern Kaduna, it will be Beningwari people. If it's not Beningwari people, it will be bandits, in the forest.
Yes, that way, the way you are saying it is the way it should concern government. And that's the reason we have intelligence service, we have security services, we have service chiefs, we have police, we have this. But you should note this geography. This road, this dual carriageway that passes through Kaduna, Zaria, that is from Abuja, the nation's capital, where the president and people who run this country, with the security agencies, where they are located. They are located in Abuja. And even the president's own, the president's place is not actually Daura or Katsina. The president lives in Kaduna. Okay. So that is the political capital of the old north. That's Kaduna. And look at the military institutions. Look at NDA in Kaduna. Look at, before you get to Zaria, look at the staff college.
Staff college, yeah.
And so many of these, and they have done everything. There, yeah. Now, an emir from Yobe State, maybe was coming from Abuja or we don't know, attacked in Kaduna State and injured. And this one came a few weeks after a governor, let's not be dropping names, let's just talk to facts, was contradicting Chief of Army Staff who declared that no more location, no more local governments in the hand of Boko Haram, for instance. And then a governor said no.
It's a lie. Borno State Governor.
Yes, that you still have 3. So as he said something, you cannot continue to use the same strategy all the time and expect a different result. How many times have journalists on this table suggested to Mr. President, your service chiefs, their time, even their continued retention has disrupted a lot of things, even in the armed forces. Promotion. Some of the people who will have solicited this and that, who have
Stagnated,
retired,
yeah.
and they are retiring. And they are still there.
Okay with it.
No, it's okay with it. They say that they have archaic methods of doing this thing. Let's inject fresh blood
That's
into
why
the
that's why the
system.
problem. We know the solution.
Suggestions from outside, from everywhere, but nothing has been done.
Tony, what are we doing? As in terms of when you look at the security architecture, a lot of people have been clamoring that this thing should be rejigged, that it's not working, and the insecurity
It's
is
not
alarming.
working. It's not working. It's not working. It's not working at all. Many times on this, we have said it this same issue many times. And the one that annoys most is that, I don't know, they're here, but they don't want to act on it. And because they don't want to act on it, we keep having issues like this. Like this. It's not, I remember when the president took over, he said he's going to make a Maiduguri, Borno State, the chief of army staff and co, but they are relocating to Borno State to battle Boko Haram and all that.
2015.
2015. And how many days this? They're all back in Abuja. They're all back in Abuja. So, and for me, that's not even the way to go about this whole thing. That's then, before we knew it, we were talking about banditry, we're talking about kidnapping, herdsmen. How many are we going to count? Kidnapping for ransom. You're no longer safe. The security architecture needs to change. First, I'm saying it again, first and foremost, because I know that's where the solution lies. It will flow from there. Let the service chief, this is the first time I'm saying service chief serves for 5 years plus, and they're still counting. We don't even know. I thought when the president assumed the new office, that these people will go. What are they doing that others can't do? We have bright minds in the military. Military, there's army, the Air Force, and Navy, even the police. You get fresh minds. If you want fresh, but I know he won't do it because I remember.
Maybe the president is building his time that there's crisis in the northeast. He can't afford to make any change.
What is any change? How many days later? They're still in the military. They are watching this thing happening. Oh, I need to summon them. These are things I want. They take over from where this will stop. What do you need to? I mean, they see these things happen.
Yes.
Bring fresh ideas. You don't need, because what you said. Sorry, what you said. Yes. I remember Mr. President exactly saying that when Arise TV met with him last year, and he said, "No, these are loyal service chiefs. Yeah. I'm okay with them for." Who told you? So if you bring won't they be loyal to you, not to the nation? That is the problem. I know the moment he said it, we're in trouble.
You know what? I wish I could bring. I don't want to be provocative. If you look at the current budget, look at the budget to defense and security issues. Contrast that with the budget on education and social service issue, health, and some of those critical infrastructure areas. So I am beginning to think that this thing is going to become business.
It is already.
Business in the defense and security sector. Because if you look at what they are allocating, it appears that we are now working to secure the nation in the past 5 years. Go and check the budget. I checked.
That's what we
before
do.
coming here, but I don't want to be comparing budgets so that it doesn't become provocative or it doesn't become one hate speech. But we need to pay attention to this thing. Or it is nationwide. And his reference to Amotekun, for instance, this security architecture you are talking about can only work when it is local. And it's very unfortunate the way the Attorney General just jumped out when he had been told before that 23 states already had such outfits. I think that there should be critical thinking at this time, not partisan politics about who is organizing what. Whoever can organize something, the 6 states of the Southwest, 5 of them are APC. Only one of them.
Yeah.
So
Only
one. Only
Governor Makinde.
Governor Makinde. So the APC governors organized this. They called Makinde, and Makinde has been working with them. I believe that.
And the chairman of the Governors Forum is also part of them.
It's also part
And the chairman of the South
these
Governors
people
Forum,
will not organize something sinister. They are concerned about security of the people. When they carry professors and they kill them in Southwest, some will go from Southwest to Edo State, they kill them. They are killing people, they disturb farmers, they are organizing this thing and openly organized. And they say, no, I'm quoting the Constitution. Which Constitution and whose Constitution? So look at how people look. They could have killed that emir yesterday. It just because yes, like Shakespeare will also say, it is only when beggars die. Then there are no comets seen. But the heavens themselves, that it happened yesterday, blazed forth the death of princes. So many things have been happening like that. If it were not for the emir, we would not have heard about it. So many people are suffering. Poor people have died like that. They have killed so many people like that without any story. People are so many people in internally displaced people's camps. So I think that they should pay attention to how they can organize more of Amotekons all over the place in order to protect the people instead of destroying that kind of initiative.
The Attorney General in his press release, Tony, said that defense, internal security, that is an exclusive list of the federal government, and that list, and the state cannot share.
Why did the Attorney General wake up suddenly? He was carried. I remember the governor of Ekiti State was in Abuja a day before.
Yes.
And I'm sure he didn't just go to Abuja to see. He went, he consulted. Where is this afterthought coming from? I don't understand. It's purely politics, and it's not good for a nation. Yeah. And that's why people are dying. We play politics with things that matters. Things that should better our lives. We play everything. We play politics, and it kills people. And you sit down here, you're okay. So people should die because I don't get it. You are not doing anything. So tomorrow the Emir of Potiskum will now organize a security unit around himself, and you're telling him you can't do that.
And then you can't do
it. You can't put. I was almost killed, and you're telling me I can't do that. So what do you expect at the end of the day will happen? There'll be conflict. There'll be crisis.
Yes.
People need to. If you cannot protect people, don't tell them how to protect themselves. In this same country, people go to all the houses in Lagos. Go to the streets.
The situation we have on ground now is that might just be put pay to the arrangement at Amotekun.
But the
governors have said that they will go to court, they will not stop, they will be organizing this thing. Let them go to court, let the court pronounce that they are illegal. We already have 23 outfits like Amotekun all over the country. We have civilian JTF and some others in different states of the federation. Why is this special attention to Amotekun and its so-called illegality? So I think that they should rethink what they are talking about. If they are testing waters for some political reasons, this is not the time. Security, welfare and security of the people, according to our own constitution, shall be the primary purpose of government. So why won't they even study what they are doing? Why did he jump out there? He's an interior minister. Why did the Attorney General jump out like that and start saying, no, it is illegal, quoting the Constitution? Yes, we know the Constitution. There is a letter and spirit of that same Constitution. That is what the letter says. But what of the spirit of the Constitution in the context of security? Now, the Vice President of this country has talked about the need to decentralize operations of police force. He has, yes, he himself has talked about it, talking about community policing, community, and so many the British police force and others have been coming here to train our people on community policing. We have neighborhood watch. Wole Soyinka started federal road safety corps in Ife. And a president, a military president, looked at the initiative from a university. And they asked him to make it a federal operation. Professor Wole Soyinka began what has become Federal Road Safety Corps today in a university campus. And they saw the beauty of that initiative. And they took it over. What are we talking about? And I think that this is 50, people are marking 50 years now after Civil War. And then 1966 to date, that they scrubbed the federalism. That delivered development and delivered universities. We were talking about IFE, UN, even ABU, and all those things like that. They took over all this after 1966. They took over IFE and others in 1975. So this unitary system of government that cannot ensure security and development for us will have to be fought to a standstill. And nobody should be afraid of telling the truth at this time. We should speak truth to power. The only way we can rescue this country is to speak truth to power. It's not criticizing people or attacking people, but truth is the most powerful force on earth. And we have to tell it as it is.
Always. Moving on now. Despite mounting concerns, the federal government has commenced the implementation of the key components of the Financial Act signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari on Monday. The 7.5% increase in the value-added tax (VAT) on transactions is a particular reference. The Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, confirmed the development during a chat with journalists in Abuja on Wednesday. He also said the objective is to promote fiscal equity and introduce tax incentives for investment and infrastructure and capital markets. Martins, this VAT thing, that means what's the implication now?
No,
I want to buy a bottle of Coke.
Yes.
I want to buy a bottle of Coke. Let's say a bottle of Coke is 1 naira.
Yeah.
And would they also reflect and tell me if I'll pay 50 kobo in VAT?
Yeah. You know, like I was mentioning letter and spirit now, the letter of the law. If you read the letter of this new law, I think it should have come years ago. Reform is very good. These are things that you need in a country.
And drive development.
Yeah, to drive development and to get money for critical infrastructure, to drive so many things.
Service debts.
Yes, service debts and all those things like that. They are very good on the face value.
Yeah, exactly.
But those provisions have consequences on the purchasing power of the people. Because it is not spirits that will pay these taxes. Are the businesses doing well? Yes, there are some incentives here and there for small scale businesses. They have some tax exemption for some. And in the petroleum, oil and gas industry, they remove some taxes in order to get more money for government. Very good. But the implications of these things are grave because of our own purchasing power, because of our income. So, and then look at what they are still talking about, what they are giving to people about this 30% minimum wage.
Some states have not even started.
Some states have not started. So they started that one yesterday, then today. This one will come with VAT. 2.5% increase on our salaries, on income and all those things. Some of these salaries that are not regular now, at the time income is low, even disappearing. So many people have lost their jobs. We have lost count in everywhere. So the people who are going to pay will grow because electricity bill tariff will increase. So many prices of goods everywhere will increase. Transport fares will increase. Everything. Landlords are there in the corner.
No, that you built your house since 1980.
Yes.
You buy one
Yes. Okay. Because they will tell you that they are paying this, they are paying that. So I am worried. You know, when you look at the
spiritual effects.
Yes. I'm afraid of the implications of these of this thing. Yes, it will bring money, as they are saying, but they are not talking about the palliatives for the people because it will reduce our purchasing power and tax everywhere. And for those people who are not earning income, who don't have this income now, what are they going to do? Because it's still the same market we go to. Yeah. And then the people who are disturbing, who will wake you up from your village, from everywhere, old school friends who are in some forms of challenges, who keep sending messages, the number will increase. So it is good.
You're going to bite everybody.
But the consequences are grave too.
Tony, how would this affect businesses?
It's affecting businesses already. Just like today, I got a call. I wasn't in my office. They called me. Tax people around. And I said, I'm not around. When I just drop your number. So that tells you the level. They set targets, and they have to meet it. People will pay for it. The fact is that, what is it? I mean, you set up a business in Nigeria, for instance, and you're finished. Then taxmen everywhere. From nowhere, it just surfaced.
Double taxation.
This one, I don't want to even go on that. The issue is this: people are going to feel the brunt. It's going to touch, and just yesterday, minimum wage increased to 30,000. Then VAT increased. At least wait for the states to start implementing this minimum wage. Some states have not even. They are not thinking about it.
They have the committee.
So the committee you're giving this, you're taking it back from them.
Yes.
So everything you buy, there must be I mean, we need to do things correctly. I know we need this thing to grow the country,
Yes.
to go there for governance, for development and all that. I mean, infrastructural development and all that. But please, can we do things in the right manner? Consider the people. There must be enlightenment. Ordinary Nigerians don't pay tax. So if you want me to pay tax, please tell me what I need to, what I'm.
But we've been told since last year.
No, we've been told
since last year when the president actually went to go and lay the 2020 budget in the National Assembly.
Cool. We've been told since last year.
October.
It's not about being told the last year. The money, when you told me, you didn't put money in my pocket. You didn't do anything that will make that money come into my pocket. You're telling me to pay. Telling me how does that transform? I mean, how does that make me pay? That you told me doesn't mean what you must put. People need to be enlightened. Ordinarily, I've said it many times here, and I'm saying it again, that in Lagos, I know when Fashola came, people started paying tax. You need to see what this money is used for. I need to know what I'm paying tax. Nigerians can pay tax. Yes. When they leave the country, they pay tax in all these places because they see what this money is being used for.
But here?
Can our politicians start using this money for what we pay this tax for? And people will go and pay. You don't force them. That's why you see a lot of people fight them. Where do you expect to pay tax? You put a signage, before you know Lassa comes from nowhere and say if it's two-faced, I mean, you pay, and you want to bring the signage down. Those are the frustration. What are you giving back to these people? How are you contributing to their business growth? In what way? I've asked them many times. It's not about taxing them. What is government giving back? When you give back, people will pay tax. Let us see what this money is used for.
What we call tax incentives, and
well, there are tax incentives for people who are doing one thing or the other in this law. But you know, he mentioned one critical thing that that doesn't usually happen here. Civic education, public enlightenment.
What is national orientation
Forget
agency?
about national orientation agency. They are there. You asked the question, but the answer to your question is blowing in the wind. So we can't find them. But you know, public enlightenment and structure of public information management is even problematic. It's complicated in Abuja. For instance, one of the last statements on the value of this Finance Act came from the office of the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina. He issued a statement. Where is the Finance Minister's office? Where is the economic management team? And some of those people like that, they should invade the media and start talking to people about benefits of this thing that, it's going to bring pain, it's going to do this, it's going to do that. But they just keep quiet in Abuja. That was why the other day they started, they began to insult the CBN governor. They say your own is monetary policy. Why are you dabbling into fiscal policy issues while intervening in so many? Because people who are supposed to be talking at that level have not been talking. That's the reason the CBN governor has been talking and just assisting in educating people about these things that they are doing. And saying, yes, people are just extrapolating, people are talking about, it's fiscal policy. Because the people who are supposed to be doing public enlightenment are not doing their job in Abuja there. Like I said, when you read this law, there are things that should have come up years ago. Very good. But implementation, they need to be talking to people. Just as they were talking about this local rice production and banning of this thing. They were not explaining to people. Everybody was confused and they said, no, why did you do this? Why did you do that? And many local rice farmers became rich suddenly, and people still manage during this Christmas and all those things like that. But they have not been telling people. No data on the gains. Nobody.
Don't have the timeline.
No, we don't have anything about what is going on, what has been gained, and the people. We here were the ones, when we come here to say, look, what the president said is to encourage local production, and we cannot continue to consume a bread of wheat we do not produce. And that a leader said this one in another country for local production. This is why they closed their borders too in China to do this, to do that. Abuja has been so quiet. Where are the public information managers? Where are the people? It is not about information minister. There are agencies. There are institutions. You don't expect anybody to be talking for the finance minister. There are people. She too should be talking. There are agencies within the place. What of FIRS? What of other agencies like that of government? They should be enlightening the people. They should be telling the people, yeah, these things are painful, but we need to go this way before we can get these benefits. We need people to be talking to people.
Finally, Tony, are we going to experience any kind of spiral effect?
Of course. Go to the market. It's happening already. I think it takes effect on Monday.
Yes.
So of course, people read. And you go and buy things. You see, it's immediately. So the issue is even this. Just as Martin said, let's learn to do things the proper way. If we do it the proper way, people will buy in. If you want the people's buy-in, when you put a policy on ground, educate them. Let them know what they stand to benefit, because you're going to put your hand in their pocket. Yes. At times, these things are deducted at source. So make them understand this and don't force it. Don't force it. Give me one reason why I should contribute to the building of a road. You can convince me. We have agencies in Nigeria that can do that. Why are we not? We talk about this National Orientation Agency all the time, and the guy is sitting down there doing nothing.
Somebody hear anything from
somebody is under a under a ministry. Those are the frustrating things we're talking about. People, Nigerians are compliant people. Do the right thing, and they will obey. They will follow you.
All right. I want to thank you, Tony Nwajei. Thank you for your contribution today, and Martin Oloja. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. Watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. We are also on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Usubaku. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.